Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Reddit Talks Clash, a podcast hosted by your moderators here on r/Clash of Clans. Today we have a very special guest, the one and only Clan Capital content creator, pro player, Sen. How are you doing, Sen?
Hey, well, I don't know if pro player is right, considering I'm like the only player on YouTube Clan Capital right now.
I
So I
think
sort of
it's
just
fair to call you a
monopolized it.
pro.
But I guess you can call me pro. I am probably number one of
Yeah.
one.
And then we also have Rick here and Mac. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing great. Appreciate you.
Awesome. All right, well, let's just start off. We'll have Sen introduce himself, tell us a bit about his content and his channel, and then we'll move over to talking about the new update.
Yeah, so I'm SenFGr on YouTube. I do Clan Capital videos. I just recently started, but I'm sort of still figuring out the whole YouTubes and everything, making videos. And my channel's been growing like crazy as of late, and so I'm thankful for all the growth, but I'm working
over 2,000
really
new followers every month.
Yeah, I'm working hard to try to learn how to do things right now, because it used to just be me in the bedroom recording on my bed and just talking and with a lot of dead space in between the attacks. But now I'm trying to actually do things right, and hopefully you guys come check it out and enjoy the content.
Yeah. So when did you start on YouTube?
So I started in July. That was during my summer break, and I had a lot of spare time to play Clash of Clans. Like the Clan Capital update dropped when I was doing finals last year, and so I wasn't playing, but then I came back and I'm like, whoa, what is this new game mode? And I had a lot of time during the summer break to just grind a ton of friendly challenges, learn the new game mode, and try out all the different troops. And then I decided to make a channel that was mainly for my clanmates at the time, so I didn't have to repeat the same things over and over, like telling them how to do attacks or where to deploy troops or whatnot. And then people started coming along, and it was kind of a crazy ride from there.
Your intent was always to focus on Clan Capital then?
Yeah, at least for the channel, because at the time there wasn't any really in-depth strategy for Clan Capital. And so I had to learn it all myself, and I was like, all right, I'll just make some stuff for my clanmates. Like I'm more focused on Home Village, especially when I started making Clan Capital content. But I guess I sort of became known as the Clan Capital guy, and that I've just been going along with that at this point.
That's definitely how I knew your name too. When Spencer brought you up, he had talked about getting you on as a guest once we started seeing what this update was going to be about, and I was like, wait, like I know that name. I've seen. I watched a lot of your 2-hit videos. I saw your tier list video, which I thought was great. So I guess, yeah, overall, like we just got a new update. Do you have any overall thoughts on it?
Yeah, I didn't expect that an update for the Clan Capital was going to happen so soon. I was honestly afraid that Clan Capital was going to go in the same direction as Builder Base, where it becomes sort of the laughingstock of the community. But Supercell really outdid themselves with this update, and almost all of the changes they made have been quite relevant, in my opinion.
Hear, hear.
Yeah, so the very first change they made was something we could talk about real quick. A really small change was a buff to the skeleton barrel. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were confused about what the change to the skeleton barrel did, or at least what it would actually mean for an attack. It sort of makes it function as an air tank. So I was before using skeleton barrels and super dragons sort of to go in and just deal a lot of damage to a lot of clustered up buildings. And now the skeleton barrel gets that HP buff. It's able to reach the defenses a lot easier and also provide more tanking for the dragons, because the skeleton barrel actually does a lot of crash damage if it actually gets its attack off.
Yeah, originally you put the skeleton barrel in the B tier on your tier list. Do you think it moved up because of that change, or is it still that B tier after the super wizard?
Yeah, I think it's still the B tier, although it got the health buff, and it's definitely better. The main function of the skeleton barrel was just providing a ton of skeletons, and that didn't really change with the update.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And then the big reveal was a brand new district. Now, before we get into all the little parts of the district, one thing now a lot of people are talking about the district is there's a new permanent obstacle, those vines. I'm actually curious if you have anything to say about those, how those will affect the strategy and the base layouts in that specific district.
Yeah, I actually really like the vines. I didn't know what they did at first, and because I didn't really watch the sneak peeks, but they actually changed the way attacking works because they restrict your deployment zone. And so I do hope that they add more interesting features like that in the future. I don't know if they can implement it in the older districts at this point, but in the future for the newer ones.
I know there's been talk about expanding some of the stuff from Skeleton Park to the previous districts if they ever get into like District Hall 6's level kind of stuff. I don't know if that's for sure going to happen, but it's sounds like it's definitely a possibility at least.
Yeah, and then a brand new thing we got, well, not necessarily new, but we'll talk about it real quick, was the Infernal Dragon from the home village. How do you think that affects Clan Capital? I see a lot of people talk about it's good against Capital Halls. What do you think about that?
When I first heard the Inferno Dragon, I'm like, what was the point of this? Why would I use the Inferno Dragon over the Super Dragon? But I don't actually think that its main use is against the Capital Peak, because the Capital Peak still has a ton of HP, but its main use that I've found so far is against Dragon Cliffs. So if there are dragons near the outside of the base that aren't protected by air defenses, before I would just use Super Dragons to trade them. Now you can save a lot more camp space by just using the Inferno Dragons. And also, if you just like zap out the posts, that's now an option, and just drag them out and trade them there. We were really overdue for another way to take out the defensive Super Dragons on the Dragon Cliffs. I know everyone hates attacking that base, and so I think this is a
I
great.
avoid it.
Yeah. I was just gonna
Last
say, like,
one.
is Dragon Cliffs as annoying to you as it is to I think everyone else?
Honestly, yeah, I hate the fact that you have been forced for the longest time just to spam archers every single attack. This new update with the Inferno Dragon, it gives you another great way to take out dragons, because before you only had the archers and sometimes super dragons, which just was not a good option.
I two-shot the dragon base today thanks to your recent video, in fact.
Yeah, I do cover Dragon Cliffs occasionally, but I also avoid posting Dragon Cliffs attacks on my channel too, because it's just archers, and I don't really like talking about archers too much on the channel.
That's fair.
Oh, I'm just imagining reflectors on that base now.
Yeah, so let's get into that. Speaking of archers, it seems the reflector is perfect with dealing with those. What do you think of the reflector, and how do you think it works with Skeleton Park?
Yeah, I am hoping that not only is the reflector going to be in Skeleton Park, they're just going to put some reflectors on every single base. I hate archers. They're so hard to counterplay on defense, and so the reflector was sort of, I didn't know what it did at first until I tried it, but once it started one-shotting my archers under stealth, I was like, this is it.
So what do you use against the new reflectors? How do you destroy them? What do you think is best?
Right now, I'm not entirely sure. It seems like big bulky troops are a lot better at dealing with them, or you can swarm them with really small troops. But I haven't been able to test it very much because it's still a really new district, and I haven't been able to level the defenses up. Like right now, my level 5 archers are not getting one shot by the reflector, and so I don't think I'm in the best position to test it right now.
And with there's I think 4 or 5 total reflectors on the whole Skeleton Park. How do you think Skeleton Park, like if it were to be max, how do you think that would compare against the other districts? Like 2-shot, 3-shot, or 1?
So the Skeleton Park, it has rocket artilleries, giant cannons, minion hive, as well as the new obstacles that make it hard to deploy troops. I honestly think it's one of the stronger districts. I'm not entirely sure exactly how many of the smaller defenses it has, because that also plays a role in making especially the barbarian camp hard to take out. But I would honestly rank it above maybe like number 3 out of all the districts.
Oh, wow. That's really high, actually.
You mentioned the minion hive. It doesn't really feel all that special to me. Like I was excited when I first heard the concept, but it really just seems like another air defense that shoots blue stuff. I mean, what do you think of the minion hive?
Yeah, honestly, it's just a cool defense for me. It just has a lot of burst at the same time and just shoots down balloons especially. I hate that. Honestly, I just like the animation. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm upgrading it just for that. It has the coolest little minion animation that when it shoots the little blobs at your troops.
Like all the artwork on the Capitol is really that's one of my favorite things about the Capitol is they really did nail the look of it.
My thoughts exactly.
The other big news for Clan Capital stuff has been leagues. What are your thoughts on the leagues?
Oh yeah. At first, when I saw that there was like a bunch of clans that had like 500 league trophies, I was like, "Wait, what is this? Why is everyone else ahead of us?" But I think they fixed that now.
Yeah, that was reset in the maintenance this morning or yesterday, I think.
Yeah. But
yeah.
right now, obviously, there's not much rewards associated with the leagues, except for clan EXP. It'll help, those level 2 clans level up faster, which is nice. But I suspect that they're implementing leagues as a way to create more competitive modes in the clan capital in the future, which that I'm excited for.
I would agree with that.
I actually forgot to ask you a question earlier. Back to your tier list, where would you put the Inferno Dragon?
Inferno Dragon. So, well, my tier list is more about how generally good all the different troops are. So right now, I think I'd rank Inferno Dragon as a C tier just because even though it's really good against Dragon Cliffs, I don't see it being that good against any other base with how slow it is.
Yeah, I haven't used it that much. It doesn't seem very strong, but maybe we'll see. There might be a secret meta we'll find in the future. And let's move on to probably the biggest topic of this podcast we'll talk about is the new graveyard spell. You recently
Are you guys sure? Are you sure we want to put that out there? You can save that one for us.
I think it'd be great to talk about here with Sen. You just posted a video today about how OP and broken this spell is. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I didn't realize, because I haven't done much testing until today, about how ridiculous the graveyard spell was. I just assumed when it first was announced, I hear that it's like it spawns one skeleton per 3 housing space dead, and I'm like, wait, that's 80 skeletons. That's amazing. And then they're like, oh, but it caps at 40. And then I was like, oh, that's probably terrible. And I didn't even give it a chance. But then I go on Discord this morning, and there's like 10 replays of people showing them smashing bases with just spamming rams, wizards, and graveyard spell. This new spell is disgusting.
Oh gosh.
I think the main problem right now with the graveyard spell is it lasts for 2 attacks. And so on your second attack, you have 6 graveyard spells down, and you're spawning more than 200 armored skeletons inside the base. That is just so not fair.
We talked about the video that you dropped today. Today is Friday. It's the video is titled something like the graveyard spell so insanely broken. And I'll put a link in the show notes, and Spencer will add a link on the post for anyone who's listening now. But just I guess to keep everyone up, because this is obviously audio only. Do you want to do a quick rundown of how that attack really works, so we have a point of reference while we talk about it?
The way it works is you just spam everything. So you drop down all your wizards in a line. You just choose which side of the base you want to go in against, and then you'll drop down your graveyard spells, preferably to distract like the big splash defense inside the base, like the rocket artillery, the blast bows, and the giant cannons. And then you just trickle in your rams one by one, and that'll create a stream of graveyard skeletons that'll spawn and just distract all the defenses constantly. And the defenses can't do anything against your wizards. The strategy is so overpowered.
We're talking 20 plus wall breaker barb things. The name escapes me, even though I know you just said it.
Ram.
Battle rams. And then 9-10-ish super whiz, and then all 3 graveyard spells, sometimes a rage, basically. But yeah, that was just that was a silly video to watch. That was so fun.
Yeah, it looks like a meme, right?
But it is.
It's not. It works against every single base. I've not seen an attack yet that'll 2-shot basically every base. There's like no counterplay to this.
I shared it with my clan. They were like, "Oh, that's got to be so overhyped. There's no way it really works like that. Like, you got to see it, guys."
And yeah,
I've never seen anyone get, what was that, 86% against one of Itsu's Balloon Lagoon in one shot. Not with archers, not with rocket balloons. Nothing's ever come back close to one-shotting it. And he would, the attacker, Chief Pat, not the actual Chief Pat, but the Chief Pat on our Discord, he would have gotten it had he just brought one more skeleton barrel instead of having a couple more rams, which is the crazy thing. I'm sort of speechless. Before the graveyard spell, that base was impossible. I'll say that right now. If you could train like an AI to do Clash of Clans attacking, like there's like AIs for, I don't know, Dota, League of Legends, I don't think they would be able to one-shot that base.
Oh, really?
But yeah, graveyard spell can.
Yeah, I was considering what Supercell could do as I was thinking about nerfing it potentially down the road. And I don't see them changing how many attacks that it lasts for, but maybe how many skeletons it spawns or something like that. And those are really strong Larrys coming out of there too.
It's funny because I know initially in the first version of it out on the dev build, the ground skeletons weren't armored, and I think they added the armor to buff the ground stuff because it was mostly useless. And yeah, it's weird seeing how that stuff kind of evolves. It's not true like it lasts 2 attacks. It probably does. But I know it can run out on 1 attack if you have enough stuff die to it, which can be confusing for some people. And I don't know if that also extends the other way too. If for some reason you don't have enough troops to trigger, maybe you drop it at the very end. I don't know if it could potentially last 3 attacks either. Like, do you guys know?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure there's like a 39 skeleton cap for the max level, and it'll spawn those 39 skeletons on your first attack, and then it'll stop, and then you can spawn another 39 on the second attack. That's why.
Okay. That's weird. That's not at all how it was on the dev build, and
I believe
I must have
it
missed
works.
it. If that changed, I must have missed it.
That's why it's broken.
That was the attack strategy I was referring to earlier. 2-shotting Dragon Cliff with mostly ground skellies. Had some wizards falling behind to take out the dragons a little bit, but it was just so overwhelming by the time you get to that second hit. Even the dragons flying around can't keep up with them.
I haven't tried it against Dragon Cliffs. That sounded awful in my mind, but now that you say that, I did just use it against a Capital Peak with the dragon, and that dragon couldn't do anything. So I don't know. That could be the way as well.
Maybe if they made it so it was regular skeletons instead of like the guards, maybe that might balance it, or that might make it useless,
Yeah.
Because right now they're 2-shot. Imagine if they were 1-shot. Would that make it worse? Well, obviously worse, but would it destroy it completely from the meta?
Yeah, I remember that the old, like even in the home village, there was that old skeleton spell where it spawned not armored skeletons, and that felt horrible. But then they gave it the guards, and suddenly it's really good because those armored skeletons can just take 2 times the amount of shots, which is so important for their survivability and actually being able to do some damage as well.
Little changes like that really do add up. It's something that I hadn't ever thought about before long term until we had trample damage on, almost a year ago, and we were talking about like the E-drag speed nerf or something stupid, and then he had said something like it sounds like a meaningless change, but it represents like a 10 or 15% overall change. And when you're talking about 2 shots down to 1 shot for the skeleton, like that would be a massive change.
Yeah.
So they would probably have to balance it in a different way, like even changing the number of troop space, because right now it's 3 troop space of death spawns 1 skeleton, right?
Yeah.
So if you made it like 4 troop space, like that's still a 25% change.
Yeah.
So it's got to be hard. It's gonna be hard to tweak without it having a massive swing, and I don't personally know what to do about it.
I actually like the 4 troop space idea because I don't even know if that's a nerf, because right now the problem with the attack that I showed with the Rams, with the Wizards, and the Graveyard spell is that you're getting a constant stream of Larrys distracting all the defenses. And by bumping it to 4, that just makes that stream go slower and it'll last you longer. So I'm not even sure if that's a nerf. You'll get the same amount of Larrys, but they'll last you a little longer and distract defenses for your Wizards, which are the main damage dealers in that attack.
And there was one other tiny change in the update for Clan Capital specifically. It was the clan house customization. I want to know what you think about that. It's not really has to do with attacking or anything. I'm just curious.
Spencer's been so excited about this.
I love it, to be honest. I think it's
awesome.
awesome.
I like it too. Yeah, I think all the new clan houses are super hype, and I've only redesigned. I have tons of accounts. I've only redesigned the ones on my main accounts, and I really like the gold plating one, and like the carrot, the army carrot
Yeah.
accessory.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm happy to hear someone else enjoys them like me. I know
Me
Rick was
too.
hating on them.
I didn't hate on them. I said I could not care less at all what my house looks like on the Capitol.
All right.
Our clan's pretty bought in.
Yeah, it's not hate, it's indifference.
Well, I feel like I've heard a lot of positive feedback on my channel as well as the Discord about people with the clan houses, especially people who like collecting skins and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of potential. They'll sell them like packs and maybe put some in the past and stuff like that. I'm pretty excited to where they're going to take it. But I do want to move to more broad clan capital topics. There's one discussion I see a lot of times on the subreddit. It's for or against rushing your clan capital. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think the optimal way to play the clan capital right now is to rush, because if you don't rush, you're maxing your defenses, but you're facing clans who are at higher clan capital levels who've invested their gold in upgrading their offense. So you just get wrecked either way, and you're going up against clans higher level with your lower level offense. It's not good for either offense or defense. I hope there's a better fix, like some sort of fix to that in matchmaking. Because if you are maxing out, say your capital hall level 8, you are facing CH10s.
Maybe they should match them with only the capital halls. How do you think the better matchmaking would work?
Yeah, I was more thinking like there's no nonsense with matching people too higher or too lower, because that just makes it too hard, especially if you're the one who's hitting up. Because in the clan capital, it matters more the number of defenses you have rather than how strong those defenses are.
Do you think for upgrade priority wise, do you think we should just focus on offense and rush as fast as we can, or how do you go about upgrading everything in the clan capital?
Yeah, so my clan store, I just tell them to upgrade this, upgrade that, and use like the priorities, whatever, and they just upgrade them. For us, we just upgrade all our offense and then the cheapest defensive upgrades that we need to get to the next level. But I do know that some people prefer to upgrade their defenses, and especially to troll some newer players with like rocket artilleries, max mega hin Teslas. Those are great defensive options. But if you really want to just like speed through the clan capital, and because you'll also get more like gold from the raid weekends if you are at higher levels, rushing is definitely the way to go.
The other Reddit hot topic when it comes to clan capital hits that people take one side or the other on would be if you get like a 97, 98, 99%, are you personally responsible for clearing that up, or is it okay to wait and hold off for another attack if you're trying to max out the amount of capital gold you get as an individual?
Yeah, I understand that that's like a big problem in a lot of clans. They'll have like 3 bases at the end that are at like 90+%. No one wants to hit them because that'll just ruin their capital gold score at the end of the raid weekend. But we sort of, in our clans, we have sort of like an etiquette system in place where you finish off your messes if you can. But I also just have a ton of accounts, so it doesn't really bother me. But I understand that if you're limited to 6 hits and you then have to clean up just like 2% with one of them, that can be kind of rough.
Do you have any advice for your fellow free-to-play players? For those of you that don't know, Sen, is it true? You have a max base, totally free-to-play?
Well, I just stopped being free to play recently. I want to
Good for
eventually
you.
be able
Welcome
to
to
actually
the dark
push in
side.
Legends. I'm always just way too late on maxing my bases as a free to play player. But if you're not like concerned with trying to like upgrade super fast, play at the highest level really fast, I think upgrading your base slow is a fun experience, and it's not too grueling anymore. Before, farming was really rough, but then Sneaky Goblins came out, and you can just farm like 5 million loot in one session and upgrade all the things you need to upgrade.
How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since 10 years now. It was like,
oh wow, so
yeah, it was like November 2012. But my main account isn't the account I started back then. So I actually had a different account that I got rid of because I was super rushed. I didn't know anything. So back then, rushing was a death sentence in this game.
Another
Oh,
topic of Clan Capital we get a lot is the raid medals and how best to spend them. Recently, they just added clan house customizations in the shop. How do you feel about those in the shop, and what do you personally spend your raid medals on?
So those customizations in the shop are super expensive. I do buy them on my all of my little tiny alts because I don't spend my raid medals in any other way. I know I trigger a lot of people in my streams when they see, oh, you've earned 14 gems over this last raid weekend from earning 1,400 medals, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
honestly can't be
Oh.
bothered to
Like-
play those accounts.
The
So-
conversion to gems is disgusting. It's so bad.
Always.
Well, the thing is, you can get like 100 gems by just buying potions and selling them for gems. So that's just like a consolation for being lazy. So I do plan to buy the clan houses and decorations on those alt accounts now, but on my main accounts where I'm like seriously trying to upgrade, I always buy the research potions. That'll help me with my lab. I think that's the only thing that directly impacts the speed of your upgrades. And then I buy training potions. That's always great value. And then I have, I'm so toxic. I play a couple of really rushed Town Hall 13s in war, and I just spam power potions, and I just triple like 10 bases up every war.
Oh
It's
my
so
gosh.
disgusting.
How many total accounts do you have?
Right now I have 29.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness.
Whoa.
I think Rick has about that much.
No, no, I have 12 or 13.
Oh, never mind.
Oh no, oh
I thought
no.
you had more.
I just realized I have four attacks left in war with 15 minutes left.
Oh.
Do you
Because
want
right
to do
now,
those
so-
live?
huh?
Do you want to do them live right now?
Yeah, let's do them live. The thing is, so I have a clan called SenFGr, and we're literally just a bunch of toxic Smurfs in here, and we perfected 12 clans in a row.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Yeah, a 12 streak is pretty decent these days. It's not like it was years ago.
Oh yeah, back then there wasn't that many clans that knew what they were doing, and so if you did know what you were doing, you could attain just insane
Oh,
levels
yeah.
of winning.
What was your best streak ever then?
My best streak? I don't remember. Honestly, it's probably between 10 and 20. I've never been in like super serious clans for war win streak.
I think Rick asked that question because he wants to share his streak. That's the
Let's
only
hear it.
reason.
Oh,
why.
if you guys insist, I will tell you.
Get a load of
But
this.
my best streak is 103.
Whoa.
Wait,
Yeah.
103?
Yeah.
Wait, so you
That
guys went
digit
an
club.
entire year of slapping everyone around?
basically, so it was back in the days of engineering. It
Mhm.
wasn't it wasn't a fully engineered clan. We ran a couple 0.5s and like one defenseless base, but it was just it mattered a lot.
Yeah. But they have fixed the engineering problem in Clash of Clans with the Town Hall 12, and you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and it also like it's not that big of an advantage for the few accounts of those that are still around. Like nowadays, getting like to a 20 streak is big.
Like,
Yeah.
there's also a lot better circulation of Clash of Clans information, I've noticed. Like, ever since, I mean, I don't know if anyone remembers, but One Hive raids, that was like the big change in Clash of Clans YouTube scene, in my opinion.
Oh, man, I miss Jake so much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you're
Who's
out there,
Jake?
buddy, come back. We miss you.
Come have a
Who are
chat.
these people?
I forget. Spence is so new that he doesn't even know the old school cool names.
All I know is Flammy.
That's
Yeah.
that's so random too because
That's so niche.
Flammy made content for like 3 weeks and then that was it.
I remember
Technically-
watching him actually. He got pretty big.
He technically still is a mod on the subreddit. And he's like the creator, but he never does anything. And like I've never talked to him. I've been a mod for 2.5 years now.
Never heard
Oh,
from him
yeah.
either.
Yeah, he kind of just went like dark all of a sudden.
I was
Um,
talking with somebody from WHF today in its modern iteration, reminding me of Power Bang back in the day.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Power
I
Power
remember
Bang is
those
good
old
too.
school guys.
Power Bang versus Jake. Those were the wars.
Yeah. But,
But
Really?
while we're
he
talking
went on and
capital-
found a lot of success in his new streaming categories, which is like PUBG, I think.
Yep,
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
right. Yep.
Yeah, and
Didn't bring me along, but brought along a lot of people.
yeah, and like, doesn't he do? Isn't he involved in some kind of management company for streamers too?
Yeah, he's got like I think it's called like Aftershock or something. It's pretty big. It has like a lot of, I think, Clash YouTubers as well.
Mm.
But he's doing insanely well, even without his channel anymore.
I do have another Clan Capital question for you, Sen.
Yeah. I
we're
guess we don't
still
need to
off topic.
reminisce.
We were
about
getting a little bit
YouTubers,
off topic.
about 5-year-old YouTubers.
I got one too, but you go ahead, Spence.
Yeah, I'll go first. So the base layout editor, there's no way to be able to share them. Do you hope in the future they add a way to share bases, or are you fine with having to do it by hand and that kind of keeps each base unique?
Yeah, so the main thing with that feature is like if someone on YouTube posts like a base video, they can just like post a link and then everyone just copies. You know, like I think that makes it a little harder for people copying, which helps me out so I don't have to face the same base over and over again. But I know a lot of people would enjoy that feature a lot.
Do you see it coming in the future, or do you think that's not something they'd add?
I don't think it'd be that hard to add, and I know that would be a very popular feature. So I would assume that in the future, at some point, Supercell would be interested in adding that. Is there that in Night Village actually?
Yeah, there is. The links do work for Builder Base, but not Clan Capital.
That's weird. Yeah,
because whenever I make a Capital Peak district, it's just so much work putting those 50 houses and moving them around. It's a pain.
Yeah, I feel that. That's probably the worst part of redesigning the Capital Peak. It's like, I don't care about these clan houses. Can you just place them down for me?
When Capital first came out, too, I know you could probably go back and listen to like our Capital release episode, and I was like, I hope they never do base layouts for Capital Hall because I really don't want to. I don't want to attack the same layouts 1,000 times like I do in Builder Base, and it's just without sharing layouts. This is exactly what I've ended up doing anyway, is attacking the same default layout a billion times.
Yeah, it's always the default. And I actually saw on your channel you posted how to attack Golem Quarry default village at every 2-shot at every capital level.
Yeah, that one was for, I have posted a video on 1-shot at Golem Quarry, but the guide for all levels was actually Balloon Lagoon. So I'm not exactly sure if Golem Quarry is possible yet, but Balloon Lagoon is, and it is insanely hard. Let me tell you. To 1-shot bases in the Clan Capital, even when they're just, the default layouts.
And Mac, I think you had a question?
First, piggybacking on that, do you like the Itsu layouts? Do you think he has the same gift for sharing good base designs at the peak level?
Honestly, at higher levels, I think Itsu's bases, I run into them more than I actually run into the default layouts. When they were first released, they were a lot more annoying because a lot of people didn't know, or like Clan Capital knowledge wasn't all that there at the time. But now that they've been all but solved, I would say, it's just become like really tedious to face them. It's sort of become that for like the default layouts, right? Too, because you just face them all the time, and even though they might not be the hardest layouts, they're just you have to destroy every single base in the Clan Capital, right? So you don't have a choice but to face them.
So what is your biggest Capital Gold takeaway in one weekend?
My biggest, I have not pushed for a new high score since that 42069 video, and so that's still my record.
That's why I was asking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know how I managed to land that number, but it happened. It worked out that way, and it made for a good clickbait title.
Good Reddit joke right there. That one's for the commenters.
And I'm looking through some of these comments, and one question I see is the best Clan Capital attack for each district. Do you know that off the top of your head?
Videos. And I think that still holds up pretty well today.
Yeah, I could link that video in the comments then. And do you have a favorite Capital troop or Capital defense, and least favorite?
My favorite is probably gonna annoy a lot of people. It's actually the rocket artillery. It's so toxic. Wow. I love it, and it just screws so many people over. I'm a bad person, I know, but my least favorite, even though it's sort of in that same light, I hate the dragons on the dragon cliffs. Like, they screw you over, but the problem with that one is that the only way to counterplay them right now is archers, or at least until now, where we got the Inferno baby dragons, and now we have more options to just kill those stinking dragons.
And what is your opinion on the mountain golem?
Yes, the mountain
2 OP,
golem.
right?
Yeah, it's become a sort of meme on our channel at this point. That the only people who use mountain golems are the ones who aren't doing so well in clan capital. We'll put it that way. But
It's such a cool looking troop too. Like I wish it was more useful.
Yeah, it is a cool troop, and you remember that trailer was so sick.
Oh yeah.
But it just does not do what the trailer makes it look like it does.
The standard Supercell, right? You hype
What do you
something
think
up
it
and then
needs?
Right now, it just needs some speed. That's all it really needs. Its 4 speed is pathetic. It's not usable at that.
you can't even use it to tank because everything gets in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
If they
even
nerf
when
that
you reach
graveyard
like
spell-
CH10 and then you have like 90 extra camp space, there's nothing you can do. Everything else just dies in front of it.
I say if they nerf that graveyard spell without buffing the mountain golem, it's a crime.
Yeah, are there any other big balance changes you think the capital needs?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think P.E.K.K.A could use a buff. Actually, no, archers. What am I thinking? Of course, archers. Nerf that to the ground. I hate archers. I think archers is a big problem in the capital, not just because of how good or overpowered it is. It's just not fun to use, and I think that's killed a lot of people's enjoyment of the game
It
mode.
does get
When
old.
all the big YouTubers are like, "This is the only way to play this game mode."
Another controversial thing is the jump spell in the clan capital. What do you think about that?
Honestly, the jump spell, I gotta say, it's not that bad. It's not that bad, but the problem is the other option you have for getting over walls is the ram. And the ram is the dumbest thing in the clan capital. Like,
Oh, really?
if you've watched that new video I just dropped with the graveyard spell and the wizards and the rams, the main thing that enables that combination is just how stupidly broken the ram is. It's a wall breaker, but it's a tank and a good damage source as well. So it just does too much and just gets too much value for that 5 camp space that everything else that destroys walls, even the golem, right? Even the golem is not considered good because like there's no value in breaking walls in the clan capital.
And then looking into the broad future of clan capital, is there anything you hope to see come specifically to clan capital, like some sort of other game mode or defense or troop or anything really? What do you think?
So I actually really love the idea of clan capital, like these big mega bases where your clanmates can all attack at once. But I think where it really fell flat was not only the archers being so good and so boring to use, but the rewards. Even though it's like a weekly thing, and obviously they can't give you stuff like CWL medals every single week.
Yeah.
The rewards still feel a little underwhelming, especially for max players. That's like a big complaint I hear in the clan capital. And so if they, I don't know, improve that somehow, like maybe make like, I don't know, a book of building available like every month at a huge price, then that would encourage people to actually try more and try to increase their raid medals. And also, they have not made defensive raid medals worth anything, or at least the way you get them.
Yeah.
So the defensive raid medals are just not based on your defensive performance at all. It's just what is the worst clan who matched against you. You have no control over that.
Yeah, it's weird too, and I know that's something I brought up from like day one of when they first showed us the capital. It was just like, what's the point in defending, because I literally don't see one. And like I definitely wasn't alone in thinking that, and I know they did bump it from like 10% of your total metal take was from defense, and now it's 20%, but it's still like it still incentivizes win trading essentially, and I think they think that the league system is going to address some of that. But still, like I don't like. It's been 6 months, 9 months. How long has Capital been out? 9 months now.
Yeah,
I've literally never watched the
7
defense.
months.
I have no reason
I
to
think
watch
around
the
7 or
defense
8.
or care. Like I don't care about defenses at all.
The
Yeah,
only
hopefully
the only reason why you would go out of your way to like build bases, from my experience, is it's just fun to watch people fail, especially like newer players when they send, I don't know, their P.E.K.K.A.s and cannon carts into Dragon Cliffs, and it's like, oh, here we go again. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's like it's not very rewarding. The two reasons why it's not rewarding, like you said, was the raid medals you get, no matter how good of defense you get, is like capped so low. And also, to my point, with the defensive medals just not being based on how you defend, I don't know why they made it based on your highest defense rather than your average defense. That will never make any sense to me.
I know one of the big responses is that they can't guarantee that any specific clan actually gets a certain amount of defenses or even a defense at all. So they don't want to make you too reliant on having a good defense for that chunk of your raid medals, which does make sense.
That sounds like a you problem, Supercell.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. Like, if you don't get any defenses at all, then isn't your highest defense nothing as well?
On a lot of levels, it is just an excuse. It does make sense too, because they can't guarantee that anyone's going to have a significant number of defenses. So they do want to say, okay, your best one, even if it's only one. I don't know. I don't see a great alternative, but I'm not a creative, guy or developer either.
Yeah, maybe Supercell sees something that we don't with that.
Like ever since I got my NDA too, like there's been a lot of moments like that where things seem really obvious, and then you question it, and then you get the answer, and you're like, oh man, I'm stupid, because of course that makes sense. Like once you see behind the curtain, there's a whole lot. It's a different perspective. But then there's also a lot of stuff too where like that still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because they had I remember seeing that they changed the speed of underground troops, and I was like, what is that? And then they released the super miner.
So
what do you think of the super miner?
Yeah, I don't believe in the super miner or the Ram Rider. The super miner is here to stay. Ram Rider is not. I don't believe in either of them, if I'm being honest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, super miner it's a lot of space for not a whole lot of value.
Yeah, you can't reliably get that bomb to be placed where it'll matter either.
It's the same problem as a super valk too, because you can't get that raid spell reliably anywhere that's going to be useful. Even on defense too, which I believe is the reason for the nerf. It was never told us, the nerf for the travel speed, because miners on defense in clan castles stay above ground. Like you're still not guaranteeing that bomb is going to do anything, but you can get 2 super miners in a defensive CC, and it's 1800 damage per bomb, so it's not insignificant.
Why are the troops of the home village on defense, they always stay above ground? Is there like a reason for that?
Not that I know of, but it also doesn't make sense either. Like you would think they should tunnel. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't tunnel.
Maybe it would like dodge poison, but I still don't think it would be like good to use miners on defense.
No, yeah, which is funny too, because they announced those balance changes really early. Even in the patch notes, it said, this will affect miners on defense, and you're like, cool, that's a non-issue, because literally no one in the history of Clash of Clans has used a miner on defense. Seriously,
I've never seen it yet.
I mean,
never.
You haven't been around the lower level war scene too often.
Yeah. Like there's definitely, like I do a lot of 5 versus 5s with some of my low accounts, and it's you either are finding like e-drags and everything, like e-drags and drags, or completely empty clan castles, or just every now and then you do get the like, this is clearly filled by whatever somebody had available.
One last thing I want to ask you, Sen. Right now your channel is specifically clan capital content. I'm curious if you'll ever release maybe home village or builder base content, because there is a builder base 2.0 coming up on the horizon.
Yeah, builder base, I don't think so. I was never into it even at the launch, but maybe it'll just completely wow me and change my perspective on it. The main one I'm looking at right now is home village, but I think my audience right now is like mainly interested in clan capital for me, especially. And so if I ever do home village, I think I'm going to do like what some of the bigger channels are doing, which is if they are doing some off-brand content, they'll just make a second channel for that.
Oh, so you think you might make a home village and builder base channel?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
wow.
plan for the
That's really
future.
cool.
Well,
Awesome.
not
yeah,
builder base, not builder base. What is that game mode?
Home Village. I tried to sneak it in there, but you caught me.
No problem. You ain't gonna make me promise something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, your YouTube channel grew like so much in 3 months. You got 10,000 subscribers or something. That was crazy.
Honestly, the only reason why I think the main reason why it's been going so well is because I'm sort of the main person in this niche, right?
Yeah, no one else is doing it like you.
Yeah, because if think about it like this: if you're a big YouTuber, when the Clan Capital just came out, of course you're going to cover it. It's a big game mode. A lot of interest is going to be there, but you can't really expect that your audience is going to want that in the long term. And you already have a formula that has worked, which is Home Village.
Well, that just about does it. Do we have any last questions from you, Rick or Mac?
I got one more, real quick. For the upcoming Clan Capital trophy ladder, I don't fully understand exactly how it's going to work, like how we can collect the most trophies to push trophies in the Clan Capital. Is that content you plan to put out some information around, or do you have any insider advice for those of us that would be excited to push trophies in Clan Capital?
Even though I am part of the creator program, I haven't gotten to the point where Supercell tells me anything, so I don't know. I only know as much as other people know right now. And from what I hear, it seems that if you perform really well in this raid weekend, you can get placed extremely high from being unranked, and you can just like soar. I was told that even Legends League is possible. I'm not sure how reliable
right off the
that
bat.
information is.
Wow. The global #1 clan that got, like mistaken trophies, we'll call them. They were still really weak looking, and they had like 500. So it's still really up in the air for who's getting how many. They haven't shared the math with the creators publicly, at least that I know, or the creators privately. So yeah, it's going to be a big surprise come early Monday morning, I guess. But someone going straight to Legends would shock me, but also like, who the hell knows?
Yeah, honestly, the main thing I'm scared about, and I'm hoping they don't do, is they make matchmaking based off of leagues, because CWL is already the laughing stock, I think, of Clash of Clans, and the only reason people play it is because they have to.
So far, what the developers have told us is that the leagues have no influence on matchmaking whatsoever yet, and that like everything, it may change in the future. They haven't said one way or the other, but as of right now, it's no influence. It's really only a way for you to manage, getting more clan XP or not, and like because you lose 20% each week, it's a way to kind of force you to stay active.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So yeah, the way it works is, we don't know the exact math, but every raid weekend starts, you lose 20% of your total medals right off the bat, and then you have to earn those back plus more based on how you attack and defend and etc. whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, so if you miss a raid weekend, you're going to take a big drop in your raid medals, and if you miss several, you're done.
Well, then that would also mean that the top clans can reliably get at least 1,000, because if you're Legends League, you're losing 1,000 every raid weekend, right? So
yeah, I guess that would make sense too. If you want to stay in Legends and push and climb, then you would have to be able to, as a Capital Hall 10, probably earn at least 1,000 or more. I think I just said raid medals a few times, but what I meant was the Capital League trophies that you earn each week now.
Yeah.
Well, I will be checking SenFGr on YouTube for some updates on how that trophy ladder works next week. Can you tell us all before we get off, what is the FGR part?
FGR part, that was just like a suffix I created back in middle school. It stands for forbidden greatness. I don't know where the R came from, but yeah, it was just like a thing I came up back then, and it's just stuck around with me up until now.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we will link all your stuff in the pinned comment, and when we actually push out the video, it'll all be linked there as well. We thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing more Clan Capital and builder-based content on your channel.
Well, thanks for having me. And by the way, while I was talking, I got that perfect war.
Awesome.
Hey, yeah, good
awesome.
job.
You're good at multitasking.
Congratulations.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you guys back on the 30th of December, the last episode of this year. Thanks again. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, have a good one.